All right, now we're going to perform the sewer scope. Before I'm bringing anything into the house, down in the basement, I am finding the main sewer line to the home. The main sewer line, I don't care what age the home is, it's not going to be smaller than 3 inches. It will not. If you are in something that is smaller than 3 inches, you are not in the main drain line. City homes, you might not find a clean out in the house. There 9 times out of 10 will be a catch basin that you will find on the exterior, and we can do that in a different video. However, here is our box of equipment. Oric is getting everything set up right now, but we have 2 boxes here, and inside of these boxes are going to be all of our caps, our wax rings, and a couple of tools. If you come to this side, Andrew has done a great job of labeling on what goes where and how many caps you should have or wax rings. Now, when you are getting this all set up, we have a couple of things. Obviously, this main drain clean out is right at floor level. So if we had one that was above floor level, this bucket, let's just say that this was up here, is going right down here. Because when you unscrew that, and if anything, your sludge is coming out, you want to catch that. One of the most important things before you do the sewer scope is you're going up to everybody that is in that house and saying, you have 5 more minutes to use the bathroom because I'm going to do the sewer scope and you're not going to be able to do it. Please do not flush it while I'm doing the scope. It's going to be disgusting. Make a joke out of it, have fun with it, whatever. Now, when Oric is getting this all set up, we have that orange box in there. That orange box is going to have our USB, it's going to have our microphone, and it's going to have our cable that connects to our monitor and then actual to our reel. So when we start scoping the line, we're going to see it. Oric has everything set up nice and neat. So then before he's going to scope this line, he's going to set up what we call our workspace. All right, so we're going to shut this down in a minute, but we're going to bring all of the tools out that we're going to need to do this sewer scope. So we got that, and we got the putty.
Yeah, so typically we have a temporary plug on here, so this one's easier to take off. We'll just unscrew it to take it off. You might come to PVC piping, so you'll have pipe wrenches in here, so you'll be able to take apart the PVC piping. There's pipe dope in this box and additional caps in here if you need to replace it. You should be able to reuse the original PVC cap. If you ever come to a brass cap, we do have 2 methods for taking it off. The cleanest way to take it off is with an angle grinder, which we have here in the pack. It's battery charged, and it has the wheels are inside here, so you just put it on, you'll grind out the square on the cap, and then you'll be able to pry it off with a hammer. If you want to do the other method, is with a chisel and hammer, we'll just bang at it and do the same thing. You'll break off the square brass nut that is on the caps. You take off this square down here. Alright, so now once we figure out how to get our cap off, we're going to have our wet wipes ready to go. We're going to do all this before we get going, because once we start, we just want to have uninterrupted video. We don't want to be hearing about need to get paper towels or install in the video stream, because we're just trying to get set up. Alright, as we're bringing the line back, we're going to be cleaning it with a wet wipe as it comes back, paper towel to dry as we stick it back into the reel. Before we open up the cap, we're going to make sure that our equipment is ready to go. We have a battery pack here at the back. It's fully charged in the box. So that pack goes in here. We have our cable for the camera. This all goes into the pack. Put our USB drive in and our microphone in before we start. Once we have all that gear in place, we're going to turn on the equipment, release the reel, and bring our camera head out. It has to go through this wheel here in order for it to go back into the reel correctly. Once we have it out, we're going to turn our camera up all the way. And we do have a locator inside this head, so once we get a locator device, we'll be able to set up the hertz on this, and wherever our camera head is down, we'll be able to locate it out with the locator. Alrighty, we are pretty much good to go. We have the green light here showing up for our USB. If it's flashing blue, it's not time to go yet. So you have 3 lights on here. Flashing blue is set up, green is ready to go, and we have a red button up here. When the red light comes on, we are recording. So at this point, we're ready to head on in. I want to open up our cab. Everyone has their warning upstairs. Tap it off. Try to keep it as clean as possible. Get the rug underneath the clean out. And then we're just going to head on in. I'm going to turn this a little bit for you guys to see. And when you're feeding it in, you just want to like let it do its own thing. If you're coming up against any issues with elbows or stuff like that, you're going to be able to flush the toilet and the water will carry the camera along with you. So with a small bit of an elbow there, we got through it okay. We have an offset here, so it's going to, you can easily push through it. And as you can see, I'm not doing a lot of pushing and forcing with the line. There is times where you got to feed it back and forth to make your way through, but it will keep going. We'll keep going as far as we can. This one does have some tree root buildup in it, so we're only going to go so far. So now we've come to a spot now where our camera has gone dark. We're not going to go any further. There's something going on in this line. It needs to be rotted by a plumber. We're not going to force our equipment down any further. There's no need. The plumber has to come here and take care of it. There's no need to start forcing this rod camera down. This is a flexible line, but it does have a fiberglass bar running down along it. If you kink it, it does have potential to snap. So we're not going to do any extra force in our equipment. It needs to be rotted regardless. So we're good to go at this point. We're ready to go. We're going to start recording. We're going to get our gear set up. We'll hit the red button over here. And we're going to see a red light pop up here. Once the red light is on, this is recording. I would give it a few seconds to get going because it does take a small bit of delay. There's many a time we start talking and it doesn't pick it up. So at this point, it will be well done. If you find that you're talking too much at the beginning, you can edit the video later. And then we always say, this is Portland, Spyglass Property Inspection. I'm at 108 or 107 South Pringle, performing a sewer scope. We are approximately 16 feet down into the main drain line. It's constructed of cast iron throughout. We're hitting an obstruction here of tree root growth. Do recommend having a plumber come here to clear out the line of the tree root growth, and highly recommend rescoping of the line beyond this point. We are only about 16 feet down right now. So I do recommend having that taken care of by a plumber, and we always recommend re-televising the line to ensure it's completely clear all the way to the main sewer connection with the city. So at this point now, we'll just continue bringing it back, show the obstructions as we see them. We have a lot of build up in here from, looks like grease and maybe some metal decay off the top of the pipe, a lot of tree root growth.
And one thing that you'll notice, which is Pork is doing, he's got the sanitary wipe first, and then the paper towel second. So you're cleaning, drying as you're retracting back in.
We're sanitizing the line as it comes back in. A few different methods to do it, depending on how you're comfortable getting the line back into it. You're either going to pull them together out and then feed it back in, or how I do it is I just try to keep this here so this whole mess kind of just stays in that one area. It can get drippy sometimes, so sticking a plastic bag underneath here is not the worst idea as well, just to keep the tarp as clean as possible. So we just work our way back, and as we make our way back, we're pulling, feeding. We're going to make our observations. Massive amount of root growth in here that needs to be cleared out by the plumber. We have some minor offsetting. We have descaling of the metal pipe. We just work our way back, show some of the defects, the offsetting here. And when we make our way back out, it is imperative that you actually show them what you're doing, where you are. So we're here in the basement at the clean out. This is the clean out. And then we do a pan of their home to show them that we're actually in their home. Here's your furnace. Note some things around the house so that they know where we actually are. There is times when people will dispute that you actually did the sewer line, so it is imperative that that part is in the video at the very end. Once you're done with your reel, leave this as it is, stop the recording. Don't do anything else. Once that stops recording, you're gonna take off your gloves, you're gonna check that the video is actually saved. It's terrible to clean everything up, put it all away, check your video, you have to redo the whole thing. So at this point, we're gonna stop, disconnect here.
Make sure I have an Apple phone.
Make sure you have an Apple phone. We'll connect it here into the device. We don't need to energize the device here at all. The phone's power will pick it up for us. Once we go in here, we'll go to our file section. And we'll be able to pull up the USB drive inside here. We'll have our today's video be up here on the screen. So then at this point, you'll just take the video, save it to your phone, because we're going to be putting this into our Spectora recording app. So instead of trying to get it back onto the computer, uploading it to YouTube, save it onto your device, and then when you go into the Spectora app, it's very easy to upload the video directly into the report. You'll make your comments within there, and that's pretty much it. Once you have that done, you saved your video. I like to disassemble it in a matter of getting the reel back in nice and clean, shutting it off, and then you work backwards. You take all of your equipment off of the camera, shut this down, take out the power, and then put all your tools back in.
One thing that I want, that Porter just did an amazing job explaining all that. One thing we want to do before we actually do the sewer scope, you're gonna go under the sewer scope section of the report. You're gonna take a picture and or a video of the clean out before you remove the cap.
Yes.
If there's any issues with the line, you can note that before we touch it so it does not look like we did anything to that line. If we are breaking the cap and we are putting a brand new cap on, we are showing a picture of the new cap that has been installed. And then, no matter if you're installing a new cap or an old cap, you are going to run the water, flush a couple of toilets to come back down here to make sure that that is not leaking. There's no reason to get called back for a cap that is leaking. Good.
Hit the power button.
So if